Here is what to expect from the October 22nd National Task Force Gala. The National LGBTQ Task Force Gala is the premier annual celebration of South Florida's LGBTQ plus community. The gala is a night for the LGBTQ plus people of Florida and really all over the country and their supporters to unite our community, honor our heroes, and advance equality. This year's gala will be held at the Miami Beach Convention Center on October 22nd. This is the 26th Annual Task Force Gala, and the evening will feature a cocktail reception, a sprawling and spectacular silent auction, a sit-down dinner and an awards ceremony, and an after-party with DJ and dancing. This year's 2022 Eddy Mcintyre Community Service Award will be given to the Gadinsky family. Members of the family, including, and I always mispronounce Liebe, thank you, Liebe, Seth, Naomi, and Natasha Gadinsky, for championing equality for LGBTQ plus people and broad social justice reform for more than 3 decades. The 2022 National Leadership Award will be given to a favorite of mine, as you might imagine, Jonathan Capehart, a Pulitzer Prize-winning associate editor of the Washington Post and MSNBC anchor, for his decorated career in journalism. And last but not least, X Gonzalez will be awarded the 2022 Changemaker Award. X's work as a gun violence prevention activist has been instrumental in energizing and mobilizing a generation of advocates. Task Force Gala 2022 can be booked at thetaskforcegala.org. Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network announced yesterday a special ambassadors program where you can support the National Task Force by having a party. Seems like a no-brainer for the gay community, LGBTQ community. You can become an ambassador of the task force and invite 10 of your friends to join the $50 open bar after party of the task force dinner, and then you will receive a $450 dinner gala ticket, complimentary as an ambassador for the task force. To participate as an ambassador, contact Chris Lattis at and we're giving you the email address there, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. So the Task Force Gala, gosh, I wish there was somebody qualified at the table that could talk about that. Oh, wait, we have the National Task Force Chairman, dinner chairman, Jeff Oliverio with us. Tell us a little bit, Jeff, of what we're getting ready to experience.
Well, as you said, it is the premier iconic celebration on its 26th year, and we think it's going to be the biggest event ever in the history of the event.
The Gadinskys, of course.
Yes, we have legendary Gadinsky family who have been longtime supporters of the event. Liebe was the first ally chair of the National LGBTQ Task Force board, and she has been involved with the gala as an event for over 15 years. Her, Seth, and her children who grew up in the task force offices as they were doing this work. And their work dates back to time Cindy.
I'll talk about that when you're done.
You know, with Cindy.
Because I'm old.
We also have some great national figures.
Are you getting ready to talk about a time before there was electricity? Is that what I'm
alive then either. Well, Seth was probably alive.
Yeah, we have Jonathan Capehart, which we're really excited about. I think in a year of an election and attacks on the media, we really wanted to focus on somebody
person of color.
Yes, who
stands up against Donald Trump.
Absolutely.
I mean, come on.
You know, right. if you haven't caught some of his pieces on YouTube, on some of the work he's done, it's amazing. Yeah. He's a great voice.
Why the LGBTQ community was so critically important in the fight of what we saw over the last 4 years.
Absolutely, right. Absolutely.
He's had some genius moments at MSNBC.
And then having X Gonzalez, who's from our local community, a Parkland survivor, and a guns activist, anti-gun activist, there at the gala to help us rally young voters to the polls. They have been really instrumental in doing that. And so our theme this year, of course, is Red, White, and You. It's really about how you can use your own voice to go to the polls and make LGBTQ history with your vote. So that's really what the theme is. The task force is supporting their own initiative, their Queering Democracy or Queer the Vote initiative, which is to rally LGBTQ voters to the polls. And then the other part of the funds raised goes to the Miami Foundation and Our Fund Foundation, which created an LGBTQ equity fund.
And Jeff, talk a little bit about not only the national impact, but the National Task Force is the national LGBT advocacy organization that's based here in South Florida for the entire nation. But it's not Los Angeles, it's not New York or Washington, it's sitting here in South Florida. Tell us a little bit about the work the task force does and this event specifically, how much it gives back to local community.
Well, it's unique because the task force is based, of course, in New York and DC. So that's where their advocacy work is done and their headquarters are. Their connection to South Florida, which Cindy was part of as well, brought them here to take over these two iconic events, Winter Party Festival. So these are their main fundraising events. However, they have become ingrained in the local South Florida community. A lot of their work on the ground, where we have great organizations like Equality Florida and SAVE that do on the ground work, their national advocacy work is supporting those causes. And then the funds raised from both of those events, as we mentioned in the intro, have given back over $3.3 million to local LGBTQ organizations here in South Florida. And the task force, I think their greatest thing that they do is they create leaders. They're creating Change Conference for LGBTQ.
Iconic event,
right.
Yes.
in America.
For those of you who have not attended or are interested in it, there's leaders from organizations across the country that have been trained by the task force. So while the task force may not be in your community, there may be a leader there that was trained by the
If you're interested, you should go to the National Task Force website. It's going to be in San Francisco in 2023. And basically, it is an interactive think tank of what is next for America and LGBT thought. It's just brilliant.
And in terms of local connections that the task force had back in the days, back in the 90s when I first met Liebe and Seth and the little girls.
1890s?
Yeah, it's the 1890s.
Okay.
So the
Right after
girls,
the Civil War.
yeah, the girls actually also grew up in the Save Dade office. They would draw pictures, they were little. And we were trying to get the Human Rights Ordinance passed in Miami-Dade County. And the task force came to South Florida. They did a matching $50,000 grant. This is in the late 90s. And not only that, they sent us a staff member that trained us and then sent down other staff members as we were, door knocking and getting out the vote. So the task force is a big reason why SAVE and Save Dade has been able to accomplish as much, because SAVE were all trained by the task force.
Oh, I've never heard that story.
It, when people say, well, why should I give? I mean, that is a perfect example. And you're right. Nobody knows about it because it happened a long time ago, before, we had Facebooks and, smartphones. But the task force has been instrumental in the movement of rights for South Florida. Absolutely.
And Jeff, I want to ask before we close up the news of the task force national dinner. Tell us a little bit about this new development of this program, of the ambassadors program. It seems like a genius idea to me, because everyone can't support.
Right.
In the same way. Everybody doesn't support in the same way. So many people will come and support the dinner from a dinner standpoint. There's volunteers that support. The after party is a $50 ticket, which is an enterable expense for virtually everyone. Tell us a little bit about how the ambassador works.
Well, last year we did make it one of our initiatives to engage more young people with the gala. Obviously at $450, most young people can't afford a ticket to the gala. And we looked around the room, we said, if all these people in the room are all the same age and look the same and act the same, we're gonna die a slow death by not bring new people into the organization, and also to learn about what the task force does. So we launched the after party as a separate ticket, a way to get more participation. So it's following the gala. The gala guests will arrive, but we're also going to have an after party where you can buy a separate ticket. The second thing we're doing with this ambassador program is a way for those who want to market for us, do a little social media post, and invite their friends. If you get 10 friends together and they buy 10 tickets, you will get a free ticket to the gala. If you sell 20 tickets, you and your guests can come to the gala. So it is a great way for us to get people, to give them some incentives to come, to participate so they learn about the gala. We do some trainings because, again, we don't just want to invite people to a party for free drinks. We want you to come to a party because we're going to talk about queer the vote. We're going to talk about queering democracy. We want to teach you something.
I was going to say,
and we are going to incorporate that night. We're going to really talk about it.
Absolute capture that we talk about all of the time. The vote center is going to be on Walton Drive, and across the street there's going to be 500 times more people in that bar and that bar and that bar. So it's like, wait, maybe we should pay attention on how to do this.
Yeah,
that's not enough.
And aren't they busing people from up here to?
Yeah, there's some. Our fund is also partnering to bring guests to the event from Broward County, so that there's a little easier transportation issues for those who don't want to drive. We also have the Bright Line, of course, is another way people are going to be traveling. So I think we're trying to connect with location, but also with different diverse groups. And so it doesn't have to even be an individual that can be an ambassador. If you wanted to have, your nonprofit represented and you wanted to sell 10 tickets through your nonprofit, and then somebody from your organization can attend the event, we welcome that as well. So we're looking for any type of
Before
ambassador.
we close up, Elijah, I want to turn to you because you're the perfect demographic of what we're talking about. I'm not sure, but I think Jeff called me an old white guy. I'll run the tape later, and
just that fact you called it a tape is
tape.
Right.
wow.
Okay, there you go.
To this idea of the task force of having an ambassadors program, not on whether it's desirable, for example, maybe this is an opportunity for you to get into the room, but the idea that some of our centric organizations like the National Task Force would say, wait, we need more trans people, we need more lesbians, we need more Latinos, we need more people of color, we need more young people. What do you think about that messaging that's coming from the task force of what they're trying at least to discuss? Whether it's successful or not, we hope it is, but it's an attempt. What do you think about the attempt?
I think it's actually a really good attempt, and it sends a good message to young people that they're listening. Because I know $450 to go to a dinner, I could just eat dinner at home, to be honest.
Right.
But it sends a message that we don't want it to be just a room of old people with a lot of money.
Yes.
That we want to get the voices of people in our community who are the most marginalized, who have different perspectives, to be in those rooms with those folks. So I know Jeff reached out to me about this actually a few weeks ago. So I'll be following up on that. But it's so many galas and events throughout the year that I can't afford to get into, and I'm a political guy.
Right.
When I was running for office, it was tons of galas and events, and they were all $500, sometimes $1,000. And I don't know anyone in college who can afford to, pay to go to all of these galas and have those opportunities.
And by the way, you do not have to apologize for being 23.
No.
Except he did kind of just call the rest of us old a little bit.
Yeah.
I
didn't hear any of that.
I'm curious as it relates to that. Do you think that this kind of messaging will land on the ears of saying you should get active in LGBTQ advocacy, which is really what the event is all about? Jeff is like a spider to the flies of going, I just need you to come into the room for a little while so I can talk to you. Right. Do you think this strategy will be successful for expanding the base beyond the people, exactly as you've just said, wealthier people that are in the room? Do you think it'll expand the base in terms of?
Actually, tell you this, I don't think most people, even young, who end up going to the gala are coming there for the food or the drinks. I mean, I know the drinks are going to be great, but I think most people are going there because they might be looking up to the people in the room, like Jonathan K. Parks and other folks who are going to be attending, and they want to be a part of this movement. They want to work and fight with all of us. So having them there, I think, is important.
Yeah. Well, we just encourage you. Make sure you go thetaskforcegala.org. Become an ambassador. Help promote the idea that you can participate in this $50 ticket that includes open bar. And by the way, and we're going to do a feature piece on it. We thank Bacardi. You know,
Absolutely.
I talked about Truist.
I was going to
My goodness,
make sure I did not
Bacardi
forget
has
that.
stepped up to say, wait. We just want you to be in the room because it's valuable in and of itself. So we're putting our brand behind it because we think that this is so important, and we appreciate Bacardi stepping up. And I am in no way compensated in any way other than to say this is really important for our community. October 22nd, I can't help but wonder again what comes right after that in very close proximity. This is really, really important. We hope you're paying attention. LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.